Hello. Hello, and welcome to Stout Sunday. I'm in Louisiana with Louisiana Stout Reviews, and we'll have some other people joining us, perhaps. And this morning on Stout Sunday, I have a beer from Atlanta, Georgia, and it's from a company called Scofflaw Brewing Company. Interrogating Unit. And it's Interrogation. That's the name of the brand, Interrogation. And it's like a form, an interrogation sheet. And it's got a coffee stain on it here. And it says, name, Interrogation Stout.
Hello, Ron.
Hello, John Neely. Wow. Aren't you supposed to be hosting this? Maybe I better shut it down, huh?
No, it's all right. I didn't know if I would. I just got back to my apartment, so I figured I would join.
Here's one of the two founders of Stout Sunday, folks.
Well, you've been doing a great job holding it down for me, so appreciate you taking the reins while I've got baseball and all kinds of stuff going on this summer. But hopefully things will settle down in the fall, and I'll be able to get back to hosting weekly. But you do a better job than I do anyway, so it's fine.
Everyone, that's true. What can I say? I'm so humble, and I wanted to get a billboard made that said "I'm humble," but I didn't get around to it. Okay. Well, you're in formerly of Georgia, but now you're in Massachusetts. So I'm in Louisiana.
Correct.
And you have a stout today.
I do. So Bumpy actually gave me this one. It's been in my fridge for a while. It's called Whoop. There it is. It is a Whoopie Pie Imperial Stout, clocking in at 9.8%. It's a collaboration, actually, between Orono Brewing in Maine, Orono, Maine, and then Mast Landing, which is in Massachusetts. So, collab beer. Never had it. Bumpy gave it to me because he said he didn't really care for it, but he thought I might like it. And it's packaged on February 2nd, 2022. So not super, super fresh, but not really that old either. For a 9.8% Imperial Stout, should be just fine. And hello, Robert.
Good morning.
Now John, we have the north, south, and the west.
I'm in the basement, so it's a little different.
Yeah. Got a fish on the wall, just like in Goodfellas.
Oh, I got two fish on the wall.
Oh, okay.
They were caught back in the 90s. Only fish I've ever stuffed.
Good looking stout right there.
Now, I have this thing from Georgia. It's called Scofflaw Brewing Company, and it's called Interrogation. And like I said, when you joined, see, it's John's hangout. I'm just a guest. He hosts Stout Sunday. The name is Interrogation Stout. The style, coffee milk stout. The coffee, Brash Coffee Roasters. So I'm not familiar with Brash Coffee Roasters, but this is kind of old. I was looking at I bought it. I made a mixed pack when I was in Birmingham, Alabama, and it says 17, 12, 11, 09, 21, and I think that means 17 hours and 12 minutes, like 5:12 p.m. at November 9th, 2021. Oh well, it's kind of old, but it's 6% alcohol, and it poured a thin beige head. The appearance is dark brown. You can almost see the light coming through it. So I figured, what the heck? I never heard of Scofflaw,
They actually, you said you got that in Birmingham or you got it in Atlanta?
I've heard of
I,
Stout.
I got it in Birmingham at Piggly Wiggly grocery store.
Okay. I didn't know Scofflaw distributed outside of Georgia. I used to get Scofflaw stuff all the time when I lived down there. So I guess they're increasing their distribution if they're selling it in Birmingham now. That's interesting.
I sure didn't go to Atlanta last month, but I was in Birmingham.
Right. Yeah, I saw Trim Tab, one of the breweries you went to with Elizabeth. That's a really cool brewery. I went there a couple times actually, and they have some good stuff there. That chocolate sauce that you reviewed sounded really good. Sounds like something it'd be right up my alley.
Actually, it was the only brewery. It was the only one we visited because we didn't have time to go to more than one. So let me put this on the banners so that when Robert does his, I can have them all on it. So we have you're first because you're the host and you're the man with the plan. So the name of your thing is?
So Orono Brewing, it's the Whoop. There it is. Imperial Whoopie Pie Stout, 9.8%.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
you
I
just put
have
Whoop. There it is.
derogation, 6%. And now you got to introduce him because you're the man with the plan.
Oh, right. Me. Oh, yeah. I'm out of practice here, but yeah. So, Robert, what are you drinking this morning?
It's called S'more Money, S'more Problems.
Nice.
It is
Ain't
from
that the
Pipeworks. I'm sorry. Need to
That's
see
the
it?
truth.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No, ain't that the truth. Okay.
It's from Pipeworks Brewing, brewed and canned in Chicago, Illinois. There's the Pipeworks thing too, so you guys can see it. I've never had anything from Pipeworks before, even though I've been to Chicago. I didn't pay. I was more interested in buying whiskeys when I was there than buying beers. No, I know it's so hard.
What's the ABV?
ABV is 11.2% alcohol by volume.
Whew.
It is an imperial stout with graham crackers, cinnamon, vanilla, cacao nibs, lactose, and natural marshmallow flavor. And I bought this when I was in Kansas City. The date on it is, I can't, 2/17/22. Yeah. I think it's 2/17. I think it's 02/17/22 is the date on it. So she's a freshie.
Yeah.
I bought several in Kansas City, and as soon as my boxing skills get refined, Mr. Neely is going to get a couple of them.
Uh-oh. All right.
Yep. And
I've had a lot of beers actually from the brewery that Pipeworks there.
yeah.
I haven't seen any of their stuff up here, but they used to sell a lot of the stouts and when I was down in Georgia.
Just as a first for me. So I've never seen it in Wichita area. And she pours darker than night, but she's got a high effervescence like a cola. You can just hear but man, I'm telling you, it looks like motor oil on top. That's some of the darkest foam I've ever seen, and it has dissipated. I mean, it just went fast. It's like carbonation. It just okay. That's what I got.
Okay.
Right.
Let me just catch up with the messages here. And
He's alive.
That's right. Pay up.
now we go. Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted.
No, I'm done. It's just y'all's.
This is where the host says, now we
Oh,
go to.
okay. So, well, I guess if I'm going first, you'll have to present me there. Yeah. So the whoop. There it is. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it says on the side of the label here, they teamed up with Mass Landing in Massachusetts to celebrate Maine's official treat, the famous whoopie pie, brewed with dozens of whoopie pies, chocolate, vanilla, and lactose. To properly celebrate the awesomeness of Maine's most loved dessert. So the appearance is very, very dark brown, almost black. You can see a little bit of the brown at the top there from the angle that I'm holding the glass at. It did originally pour with a finger's worth of a tan head, which is pretty much dissipated. The aroma with this, I'm not so much getting the chocolate or the vanilla or anything like that. I'm just, the roasted malt is the primary aroma. So dark toasted bread notes. Maybe a little vanilla once you get through that initial roasted malt character. That's pretty much all I'm getting on the nose. It's pretty straightforward. There's nothing to indicate that this is a 9.8%er. I will say that. It smells very sessionable on the nose. It just smells like a standard stout for the most part with a little hint of vanilla. But yeah, smells really good. Thanks again to Bumpy Road Brewery for giving me this one, even though he gave it to me for all the wrong reasons because he just wanted to get rid of it because he didn't like it. But anyway, cheers.
In other words, he dumped it on you. All right, cheers.
He dumped it on me.
Somebody's going to do that to me with a pickle whiskey.
The faster I could get it to you, the better it would be.
It sounded like an interesting product, yeah. But the Old Smoky pickle one, that's what I thought of when Robert was doing his review of that the other day. The Old Smoky one sounds much better than the one Robert had.
Yeah, I've had.
Plus, you get the pickles. You get to eat the pickles in the jar too. So
I've had that one. It's better. It's better by a long shot.
So the whoop, there it is. I mean, it's very roasty, toasty, bready right up front. Then you get a little bit of that vanilla sweetness in the middle of the sip. I'm not really getting much chocolate, maybe a touch of dark chocolate from the roasted malt, but nothing that would remind me of a whoopie pie type of chocolate, like more of a milk chocolate or even like a fudge, something like that. There's nothing that really screams chocolate other than that little touch of dark chocolate from the roasted malt, but I would never guess that they actually added chocolate to this. The vanilla's coming through. The lactose kind of gives it a little bit of a creamy mouthfeel, but for the most part, this just drinks like a standard stout, like a, I don't know, like a Guinness or Murphy's or something like that. It's got a little bit more body than those stouts, but as far as the flavor profile is concerned, you're getting the roasted malt, the bready notes. It's pretty straightforward. No hop bite, a little bit of bitterness from, just the intensity of the roasted malt, like a little astringent note from that, but no hop bitterness that I can detect. It's enjoyable, but it's very straightforward. It does not taste like a whoopie pie. So if you're expecting that, then you're probably going to be disappointed with this. But I would say that if you're just going into it thinking like, you know what, I'm looking forward to drinking just a standard stout that has a little bit more alcohol, but doesn't taste like it has a little bit more alcohol, then this would be one to go for. But as far as the marketing with this, with the whoopie pie thing, they definitely dropped the ball with it. I'm not getting anything whoopie pie-esque on the palate at all, other than just a little bit of vanilla, but just a lot of roasted malts and breadiness. That's pretty much it. So I'll keep sipping on it and think of a rating here. It is an enjoyable beer, but yeah, not whoopie pie like at all.
They ought to make a specialty version called Whoop Goldberg.
Oh God, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would drink that.
All right. We have an oldie because this was bottled, canned in November of last year. We have an oldie and not so goodie. An oldie and not so goodie. All right. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to give this beer an interrogation. Now you listen here, you beer. Where were you? All right. The aroma, it's a little bit of coffee and a little bit of dark roasted malt, but it's not a lot of anything. It's just faint. Now, could that be because it faded over 8 months, 9 months? Could be. But something's telling me it probably never was too dynamite. All right, taste. Cheers.
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 You get coffee. Thank you. You get dark coffee. Not a whole lot of it. Now I'm finally starting to get the milk. I never picked up any milk until just now, but it's minimal. Roasted malt, but I'm gonna tell you the main story on this beer, this stout porter beer, is dry. The sweetness scale is maybe 1 out of 5 sugar cubes, maybe 1 out of 5. The bitterness, 1.5 out of 5 hop cones. It's very thin in the body. If I drank this and didn't know what it was and I'd sipped it, I would say, what porter is this? Okay. Maybe it's got a little body since I did the swish and pour now, because sometimes it'll kind of settle after 6 months, 9 months. I don't know, man. It's really dry, and I can't say that's a negative because some stouts are dry and some are sweet. So you can't really knock a style because it's a style, but you could say it's not for you. But the finish is very dry, you would imagine. But the overriding feeling of this stout is that it's sort of bland. It's just kind of like there, but ain't a whole excitement happening. So I've interrogated it. We're going to bring it to trial, and I'm going to be the judge and the jury, and I'm going to find it guilty of
Execute it.
guilty of being bland, and I sentence it to no repurchases. All right. It is a scofflaw, and it broke my law, and my law says you have to have flavor of an appreciable amount. So sorry, scofflaw. This was your first test with me, and you failed. Okay.
Yeah, I've had a lot of their IPAs. That's what they're known for. I haven't really had any of their darker beers. So I'm not surprised that it's a little less than excellent, because that's not really their forte. They're known for like the Imperial, more West Coast style IPAs. That's their thing. IPA.
Yep. I believe it.
All right. Down to the S'more Money, S'more Problems Imperial Stout. They have a lot of adjuncts in this, or not adjuncts, but whatever. They have a lot of components to this one. Because when I first smell it, I get the cinnamon right off the bat. Cinnamon and graham crackers really hit you first in the nose. And there's that little bit of that burnt note that comes along with it, like you've been at it. And it's the roasted malts, but they have sort of a burnt character to it that literally like you have cooked it a s'more. I mean, on a campfire, you get a certain amount of that flavor coming through. On the nose, you get more of a sweetness than you do. Well, we're not to the palate yet, but you get more of a sweetness, and I'm attributing that to the graham cracker note in it. Outside of that, that's about all I'm getting on the nose. But it is a good smell. You are smelling a s'more. S'mores smell good. I'm not getting the chocolate though on the nose. I have to admit that. I'm not getting no vanilla on the nose, which they list both vanilla and cacao nibs. Just that overriding cinnamon and graham cracker note. On the palate, that's kind of unique and neat at the same time. Because up front, I'm getting the s'more. I'm getting the graham crackers, the cinnamon, the chocolate now is coming through, and the marshmallow sweetness hits you up front. As you get more and more of the chocolate, more and more of the roasted malt show up, more and more the bitterness sets in. It's sweet up front, then the bitterness starts to come in as you get more into the sip as it's going down your throat. I'm still getting no vanilla on this at all. I don't notice any vanilla. But the chocolate and the cacao comes through, more of the burnt or roasted malts, giving that sort of slightly burnt taste. The mouthfeel comes in with the lactose. This is a strange one because it does drink a little bit on the thin side. There is some body to it, but it's not a heavy body. But that lactose adds a lot of slickness. If you know what I know you both know what I'm trying to say. There's a slickness that just hits and develops. And that slickness also helps a lot of the flavors hang around, clear through the finish. I mean, I'm still getting lots of flavor. It's just lingering in the palate. It's everything the can says it is. You're getting a s'more, a liquid s'more here. Other than the bitterness, but you want a little bit of the beer effect. You want a little of that bitterness there. You don't want it to be totally just one big swampy sweet thing that's going to be a little sickly and not very good. Because I find that I like decadent sweet imperial stout sometimes, but they become too much. One once in a while is fine. If you drink too many, it's not. This one, I like the way the bitterness comes in the background and sort of swamps out that sweetness, and it leaves you with, you're drinking a beer at that note. The 11.2% alcohol by volume, get absolutely none of it. I get no alcohol note on this whatsoever. Not even a low alcohol note. It is so well covered up with all the additives that it's just, you don't. Now, would I want to drink a whole lot of these? No, this one can is going to be plenty for me. And I could drink one can every once in a while, but that would be about it. So anyway, that's my take so far on the S'more Money, S'more Problems Imperial Stout from Pipeworks.
Nice.
I drank a bunch of different, my friend David came over yesterday and I drank a bunch of different like beers with different flavors and whatnot. And they were high alcohol, blah, blah, blah. I'm used to drinking all of that. So, but then I felt sick to my stomach for hours, even this morning. And I could say, well, it's because the beers were strong, but I really just think it was all these different mixtures getting together and it made me ill. Can that happen, I guess, perhaps?
Yes, you can. Oh, yeah. You want to feel ill, drink a little bit of rum, drink a little bit of gin, throw a little bit of whiskey on top of it a little while later. Just let it sit for a while. And don't ask. You can ask me how I know, but it's through experience.
Yeah, I didn't throw up or anything, but I felt like, I could throw up. I just feel like, like I should have, because we had one that was fruit punch and one that was iced tea and then one that was chocolate and this one was that, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I've had recently I've been buying and trying a lot of the fruited sours, like they have like the Drecker and the 420 North stuff that's available up here that I never had access to before. So I've been getting carried away buying a lot of the different sours, and you drink a couple of those, the lactose, all the fruit with the ferment. I mean, it's just it gives you it gives your stomach a run for its money. That's for sure. It makes it
starts
work.
to overwhelm your senses.
It makes you go into overdrive with the digestive juices and stuff. But yeah, so I would not. I see. I mean, it makes sense. Same thing with like the stouts. You couldn't drink too many of these or the one Robert has just because it's got. I mean, you got chocolate, you got vanilla, you got lactose. All these lactose, and all of these sours and stouts now. You got to be careful with it. Even if you're not lactose intolerant, which I'm not, you drink enough of it, you're going to become lactose intolerant.
But it makes sense. It makes sense that I was like nauseous then. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly understandable.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me on my show this morning, Robert.
Oh, you're welcome. If I allow it. Okay.
Well, it's good to be here. I hadn't seen you in a while. I appreciate. I heard your voicemail too, by the way. I appreciate you calling and checking in on me the other day. Hopefully, I'll be able to get back to doing some more, not just like Stout Sunday, but just joining other people's shows. Things have just been so busy, but they'll be settling down soon. Like another month or so, I should be good for a while. So the Whoop, there it is. It's a good beer. It's a good stout, but it is not a good whoopie pie stout. The one thing it's got going for it, it's got great roasted malt character, and the alcohol is pretty much non-existent, which at 9.8% is impressive because there's a lot of alcohol in it. But much like what Robert was saying with all the different components in there, there's a lot of stuff going on with this too. So I feel like all the different flavors, even though they're not really coming through to create a whoopie pie effect, they are masking the alcohol very well. So minimal alcohol and nice roasted malt character, but the whoopie pie effect is non-existent. And for that reason, I got to give it an 84. It's a good beer, but it does not deliver whoopie pie happiness.
I never heard of a. What is a whoopie pie?
So it's basically like a cookie. It's got. I'm trying to think of
Moon pie.
It's similar to a moon pie. Yes.
Okay.
You have the breaded like cookie top and bottom, and then the cream middle.
In the center. Okay.
The vanilla middle with the chocolate. It's almost like an ice cream cake or an ice cream
sandwich,
cookie sandwich, but it's not actual ice cream in the middle, so it doesn't need to put in the. It's just like a moon pie type texture.
Something that you Yankees eat.
I guess, yeah. The whoopie pie originated in Maine. I've never actually had an official whoopie pie, but it's the same. It's the same thing. It's like a moon pie or whatever. It's just their claim to fame up here, I guess, in New England. But
yeah.
I see them everywhere, but they sell them at all the different stores around here, and whatever. Just another thing.
When I went to New Hampshire, they had the Mick lobster.
Oh my God! Did you try it?
Yeah, it was like because we wanted to get something to eat, so it was like a Subway sandwich type length, and then it had chopped up lobster on it with lettuce and mayonnaise and stuff. It was good. I mean, it wasn't really expensive, and I was like, a McLobster, I can't believe it. And then the people up there were like, "Golly, you never heard of a McLobster?" Like, no.
Yeah, they don't have. There's no McLobsters around here. I mean, the McDonald's may put out a limited. I don't know, kind of like the McRib thing, but I haven't seen a McLobster up here. Plus, I've had too many actual really good lobster rolls. Since I moved up here, a McLobster would be a really big downgrade.
Yeah, probably. But I was just saying, McLobster's back. Yeah,
right. They had a pizza. They had a McPizza for a while too, and it was terrible.
Can't see as I ever heard of either one of those.
Yeah.
Oh well, you know what? Maine. I've been to Maine more than once. Maine is the only state that was ever made from a piece of a state getting chopped off and made into a new state. True story. Yeah,
Never been to Maine.
Maine used to be part of Massachusetts for a long time, and then they said, well, it wasn't attached. It wasn't attached to Massachusetts. It was, you had to drive through New Hampshire to get to Maine, but they or take a buggy, but they made it into a separate state. It was called the district. Yeah, it was called the District of Maine. But anyway, that's irrelevant to what we're saying. But it's just kind of fun fact, you know. Do I hate this product? No, I don't hate it. If I hate it, I give it a D. You know, like yesterday, David was saying, this beer is not bad just because I give it a B. I said, well, if it was bad, you'd give it a D. You know? I'm going to give it an 86. I mean, it's good, 86, but when I want it to be a 96. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want everything to be really good. I don't want them to just be good. I can get a good beer without even trying, just going to the store, you know? So I'm gonna go 86, which if you look at it in a way, like a failure, it's sort of like a team that made the wild card in the playoffs, but they were predicted to win the whole conference.
Right. Hey, you know, an 84 for mine for a free beer that somebody gave me because they didn't like it. I'd say that's a win. 84.
Not bad. A beer that was dumped on you and you got killed at 84. That's really not bad. What can we say now? Now, the Whiskey Scout. I mean, Johnny Dilly is the host, so he's going to say.
That's right. Robert, yeah, it's that time again. We're going, getting that final rating. What are you thinking for your small problems?
I think I paid $5.99 for this one.
Oh, no.
This
11.2.
Oh, you ain't going to. I paid $11.99 for 2 beers that I want to send Johnny Boy each.
Oh gosh!
But anyway, I wrote down a 92 after my initial analyzation, and sometimes after it warms up a little bit more while you guys are talking, I sometimes change those numbers. I'm not going to change the numbers on this one. It's a good 92 is a good number. It's an A. I enjoy this. It's not in my mind a superb or an outstanding beer, but it's definitely an A. It delivers on everything it says, except I just really don't get notice the vanilla in it at all. But it is what it says. But maybe it's not my particular style of beer or something. Maybe if it was wintertime, closer to Christmas, I'd give it a higher rating because it would feel more along those lines to me. That cinnamon just reeks of fall and early winter to me. But no, no problem drinking it. It's one of those that you'll buy, probably not ever buy again, even if I see it. But more or less, that's because I always want to try something new, and I want to allocate the money that I would spend on this to something different, something new. And that's just the nature of what we do. I mean, there's few things that I repurchase, and this would not be one of them. But no, 92 is a good score for it, and I would encourage, for my purposes, $5.99 is a good price for it. So maybe even $6.99 I would pay for it.
Oh,
so
now
you're getting.
Johnny Dilly's going to tell us that part where
you're getting the full can, 1 pint. You're getting the big can. You're not just getting the small.
All right, folks. Well, it's that time of the show where we go around, and if you got any show and tell or shout outs you want to do, now would be the time. I would say overall, it's a pretty successful Stout Sunday. The average would be like a B plus, 84, 86, and a 92. We'll round it off at like an 89 average for today. Okay, well, I'll start since he's got me blown up here. I don't really have any shout outs. Thanks to Ron Terrio for doing Stout Sunday all of these weeks that I have been unable to host. I appreciate it. Keeping the dream alive. I guess I'll just say that, look for now until I can get back to hosting Stout Sunday and doing Beer Buddies and all of the stuff that I had planned for my channel. Just look out for your normal beer reviews, which I still do post pretty regularly on my channel, and that's all I got. So yeah, Ron, you got some show and tell, I presume.
Yes. If John and I ever have a falling out and become enemies on internet, then I'll have a show called Porter Sunday.
All right, fair enough.
Maybe any porters or stout porters. Okay. Well, Wednesday at 7:20, 7:30, depending on when we can get it launched. Wednesday evening Eastern Time, 7:20, 7:30 Eastern Time. We're going to revisit and examine a product that's been around about a decade now. And they did put it out as the 6% version, but that didn't go anywhere. And it's called the Natty Daddy, the Natural Father.
I don't think so. You have fun with that one.
Now, if you're not a person who's full of hate and jealousy, you could join.
I just have bad memory.
After I drank this 25-ounce can, I'm a bad. But I'm going to try to pull it out real carefully. Like when on Wednesday, I usually drink only 2 beers. So this is going to be my 2 beers on Wednesday, believe me. I don't want to be like Jean-Pierre talking the next day talking about, oh, I feel so sick. I drank all this Hurricane High Gravity. I said, that's the problem. You drank all this Hurricane High Gravity, A guy named Douglas sent me this he bought it in New Jersey. It's from Poland.
Oh wow. ZVH IPA? Huh.
Yep. 500 milliliters. Crazy, huh? It's been produced only been produced for 4 years. Tuesday morning at dawn, if you want to see something really bad, you can watch me do notorious and infamous Ron Rio. And this is like Robert knows this from Western Missouri, our friends at McCormick, who make only the best. This is the infamous Ron Rio, introduced in 1975. It's the only rum I own that smells like Roundup from Monsanto.
Oh, gosh. That must not be the one that I tried then when I was over there. The one I tried was pretty good. Similar name. I always get them mixed up. Yeah, I can't.
I don't think it was Ron Rio.
No, it must not have been. Maybe it was the Bocador or the.
Didn't we do Bocador? Yeah. So this thing smells like Roundup. It smells like Roundup and rancid sugarcane stalks.
So appetizing.
Have been rotting in the sun. So I'm going to do that against Don Q Cristal. So something tells me it's not going to be much of a challenge. It'll be a Dawn Busters, but it won't be a taste challenge. Then Friday evening at 6:30 Eastern, we're planning to do Fandango Friday, and I still have my party bucket and a lot left in that thing, So anybody that wants to join with a liquor or liqueur, join up,
Nice. Robert, you got some shout outs?
Oh, yeah. Well, they're not really much shout outs, but it's just I'm not going to show what I'm going to send you. I want that to be a surprise. So anyway, but one of my purchases up in Kansas City this last time was this. I'd never had a true bitter beer, what they call a bitter beer before. I've never seen them. This is a De Ranke. It's a German. It's brewery. It expires in July 30th of 2023. It's a Belgian beer, not German. I'm sorry about that, but I seen it and bought it. It was $4.99, so I thought, well, I get that because long time ago when Bumpy did those multi Mondays like that, they did one on bitters, and I couldn't find a bitter to save my life that was labeled as such. But that's the life of living in Kansas. And I purchased this.
Wow.
Ooh.
And it is for the Peaky Blinders show, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's cool.
And so I had never seen, I've seen it advertised, but I've never watched Peaky Blinders. So I've seen now the first 4 or 5 episodes just because of the marketing on the bottle. But you are getting, normal Bushmills is 40% ABV. This one's actually 46%. So we're getting a little bit more. And I've had a little bit more off the top the other night. I like the blue color in the bottle when it's going. That's like the older glass. They thought of a lot of little things that I think really make it kind of special. I'm not going to talk about what I think of the whiskey just yet, but I thought it was pretty neat. I really do. I went into that liquor store because a long time ago they still had a Glenmorangie cake, birthday cake or whatever it was, called something cake, and they'd had it.
Oh yeah.
I went in there to buy it because you can't find it hardly, and I didn't buy it the first time around, so I came back the second time around and it had already sold out. So, but they had that one, so I purchased that one. And then last but not least, it's not every day you get a single malt for Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, aged 16 years for $36.99. Now, Highland Queen is more noted for their blended single malts, blended whiskeys,
Right.
blended Scotch whiskeys. But I thought, well, a full $750 for that price at 16 years and it's 40% ABV, I'll definitely try it, because right now, if you find a 16-year-old single malt for under $85-$90, it's an act of God. Most of them are well over 100 now. So everything's went up in price, but I look forward to trying it. I did read a few reviews on it after I purchased it, and they're positive, so we'll leave it at that till I try it. But it was pretty rare find. I've seen the 12-year-olds in Wichita, and they're roughly about that price range. So to see the 16, I don't know if it was a mismark. I don't know if it was a lingering leftover, but I'm not passing it up.
Right, yeah.
Either way.
I wouldn't for that price, for that many years too. That's
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, I mean they're an independent bottler, so you really don't know where the whiskey's coming from. But a couple of guys on the review said, I think it was not that either, but I'd have to go get the bottle out of there. But it's from that distillery. I gotta go jog my memory. Hold on.
All right.
I bought a single malt. I bought a bunch of single malts at Trader Joe's a couple of months ago, like a whole stash of them. They had them really cheap. I knew everything was going to go up because of the JB inflation. So I said, man, I'm going to get it while the getting's good. So I'm not going to be buying any single malts for a couple of years. I just went hog wild, you know.
Well, I think it's a Tomental, but don't quote me on that. That's what they said it was.
Tomental. Okay.
What?
I've never heard of it.
I just bought. Oh man, there's so many. You want to see one of the ones I bought from Trader Joe's?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's the time to do it, buddy. All right, that's all I got to say.
Well, folks, we're going on an hour, so we're going to need to. All right, so hold on.
We got 15 minutes left. What are you talking about? We're not going on an hour yet. By the way, Trader Joe's, unfortunately, I mean, there's Trader Joe's up here in Massachusetts. There's one in the next town over. It's like a 10-minute drive for me. But unfortunately, the Trader Joe's up here, at least the ones in the neighboring towns to me, don't sell alcohol. So if I want to get the Trader Joe's beers or liquor or whatever, I have to go probably closer to Boston or maybe into New Hampshire. But the Trader Joe's near me do not sell alcohol, which is a real bummer.
Yeah, because the one we have close to me, well, 30 miles close, is they sell beer, wine, and liquor, you know, and their liquor selection is like crazy, you know. But
It's different.
Here's one I bought at Albertsons.
In Kansas, they just sell beer.
Oh man. Here's one I bought at Albertsons.
Glen Cullen.
Glen Cullen, all right.
10-year-old.
Yeah, it's been on the market like, I don't know, but it I got this at Albertsons. Whether it's any good, I could not tell you. I've never opened it. I got it for $21.99. I figured $21.99 is not too bad for a 10-year-old Speyside single.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I figure the worst that could happen, it might just be bland, you know. Trader Joe's. Now, when I went to Trader Joe's, they had this one, which I knew nothing about.
Well, that's more. It's a bottle or two.
Okay. Lisbon.
Speyside single malt. It's the company I sent them actually wrote me back and they said it was aged 6 years. 6 years. That's it. I'll show you what it looks like. Whoops.
It looks like a spot on your floor with shattered glass.
The cap pop. So it's just, you know, kind of plain. It's got a man with a suitcase and he's holding a glass of whiskey next to a barrel.
Yeah, they sell that up here. I've seen that. I've just never.
The dude told me yet. I mean, the lady wrote me back and she said, "Yeah, it's 6 years old. They make a 6-year-old, like a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, 18-year-old, you know." But this one was the price for this one was $18.99.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I think they're in the $20 range around here. I think it's like 22 or 24 here in Kansas.
I'd
The
say
last
either.
one I'll show you.
So, but you always get
So
better
what?
prices down there.
Yeah. Now this one is an Isla single malt Scotch whiskey, so-called Old Reserve.
Finlagen. Yeah, I've heard of that one too. I've never had it. Again, it's an independent bottler.
Yeah. Some little obscure company. And the price for this one was $19.99. So I think I made out pretty well on these, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say so. Absolutely.
That's just a few. That's
As
just
long
a
as
few.
they taste good. Now, when you open
As long
it, yeah. And if it tastes really super bad, then you might go, well, but you ain't lost a lot. That's the key.
Right, and then I kept getting all these prices, so that's just a few what I bought. I bought a whole bunch more, but you know people don't want to look at all. So, but I figured I better do it while the getting's good because the way the prices are going.
You need to go back to that one place you took me where they had the Craigellachie. I think it was 23 for $200 and some. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're never going to see that for that price ever, 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 ever again. Ever, if they even got any left. It may seem like that's a high
international
price.
market.
Yeah, Gary said it may seem like that's a high price, but in the grand scheme of things, I think them bottles are now currently over $400 to $500 in most places. So, but, you know, I should have bought one when I was down there. But you take a kid to a candy store, and you got so much decisions to make. I'm like, wow. I only got so much funds that I can legitimately.
So I really do. If I go back to international market and they have that Craig, what is it
You
called?
You should buy it.
$200.
It was over $2, but whatever it was 2 something 235, 250, whatever. You'll never see it for that price again.
And I was at international market. I was at international market last month, and their prices had not gone up, really.
Oh, now you make me want to drive back down there.
I guess they figured they paid for it already. They didn't feel like going change all the tags.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing.
Happens, you know.
That's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Because I got this lady out in Western Kansas. She has a great collection of scotches for a little store out in the middle of nowhere. You would never guess. But she watches the internet. And for some reason, the Lacheg tins, which you can still buy in Kansas City, if you can find it in Wichita, it's still only $59 to $69 range. She has $160 on it. And because Ralphie named it his whiskey of the year. So she thought that meant to lift the price, I guess. It was an insane price. And then she told me, well, I'm just doing it because this is what they did on the website, on the distributor site. She even brought it up and showed me on the distributor site. It was $100 and some. But I didn't look that because I don't want to be rude. I'm sitting there. But I should have analyzed that page a lot closer because I think she was confusing that with maybe a Lacheg 16 or something like that. That didn't.
Yeah, how is it helping her if it's just sitting on the shelf?
Well,
and moving,
in her mindset, when she goes to replace that bottle, she's going to have to spend that much money, so she has to get enough money out of her profit to repurchase that. And she explained it to me, and it makes sense in a way. But I just think she didn't have the correct bottle, or they've screwed that price up because all day long in Kansas City, $62.99 all day long. And
that's
there's a difference though. Kansas City's northeast, and she's damn near on the Colorado border out there. I mean, Sharon Springs is right there. I mean, you're only 40 miles, if that, from the Colorado border. And where she's sitting at, she is the only store in that entire 6-7 county region that carries the collection she does. So she does kind of have a
monopoly.
A good market, because that's where I found the last bottle I've ever seen of, like, for Elijah Craig, the old style bottle, the barrel proofs, not the new style bottles, but the old style bottles. And I still got that, believe it or not, at old style bottle prices. But in the last year, that was 5 years ago. In the last year, though, her prices have steadily gone up on some things. Now, there's some things that hasn't. And those are generally things that have been, you can't purchase no more. The Bow Blair the Bow Blair 01 or 03, whatever it was, 02, you cannot purchase that anymore. So she can't replace it. So she left the price at what she purchased at that price. So if you shop there and you go through it, there are some, I bought a lot of her stuff, but there are still some things that I'm not interested in that if it was more in your aligned palette, you would find interesting, then yes. Tell you something. One more show and tell. And then I'll be done.
Cheaper mixing vodka than Smirnoff. Well, in Louisiana, people would tell you to buy Taka because Taka's like the real popular mixing vodka here. I really can't recommend that. I know a lot of people drink Taka, but that's all I can say. Before he gets back, I'll show you some other thing, and then I'll blow him for the show thing. Oh, whoops, wrong person. I'll get him back. Don't worry. Douglas also sent me this Perla export from Poland. I don't know if it's any good, but we'll find out. Perla's an old brand. Come on, Robert. And then the other thing I found at Walmart, last 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Pabst Blue. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had that.
The mocha one, though. Yeah.
I've had the mocha, too. Yeah. We get all those around here. I don't know. I've had a lot.
I found the mocha, the salted caramel, the hazelnut, and the original. All right, now the big man with the plan, but John has the plan, but Robert has one of the plans.
This is an example of what I purchased there 5-6 years ago. And it was $31.20. But when you look at that,
Oh my goodness, the sherry cask.
cask, last time you seen a Canadian club in this kind of bottle, that kind of label?
Never.
I'm guessing this came out of the 90s. I mean,
Wow. I've heard of the sherry cat. Like I have really wanted to try that because the special or the classic 12. They have a 9-year and then the 100% rye. I've had all of those, and I thought they were just dynamite. Because I'm not a big Canadian whiskey fan, but Canadian Club is like the top of the food chain with the Canadian whiskeys, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well. On this one, though, the reason I purchased this was a friend of mine, his friend of a friend, Scott of Scotch Test Dummies. He had a neighbor at the time before he moved, and he loved the Canadian Club Sherry Cask. Well, I think she had 2 bottles of the newer bottlings, and then she had that one stuck in the back. And I was like, I've never seen a bottle like that before in my life. And, I'm not the biggest fan of Canadian whiskeys as it is. But I bought all 3 bottles, gave the other 2 to Scott to give to his neighbor. But I kept this one. This one is
well, that's awesome. That is awesome.
It may not be as old as I think it is, but I've never seen this particular style of bottle with the wax imprinted
right,
and all that other stuff. It's just
in the old school style, the tax seal on. I mean, not that it's that, but they don't usually do that either anymore on the corks. Yeah, that's cool.
Just
last year that the tax seal was required was 83. So,
well, I still see some liquor. That bottle of rum that I bought the other day had that same paper strip across the top of the.
Yeah, but it's a decorative thing now.
Right, absolutely, yeah. It's not obviously it's not required anymore, but you don't see that very much with the newer bottles.
No. Until 1983, you had to see it because that was the law.
Right.
And in 1980, they started using the metric system on bottles. Before 1980, they used the English system, like 3/5 of an ounce. Then they went to 750 milliliters.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't see this very often. Very often at all. George Dickel.
I've heard of it.
I
see George Dickel everywhere. Talking about.
Yeah, you don't see it with the Kansas tax stamp and the top. But she has some loss in there. She's not.
Yeah, it went away a little bit.
1976.
Holy cow!
Wow, I went to Disney World in 1976.
Yeah, I stumbled across that for I think it was $70. I was like, man, that's been 10 years ago or so. And I was like, yeah, buddy,
you're always scouting things out. That's probably why they call you the Whiskey Scout.
Yeah, but it's getting thinner over the years. It's since the advent of everybody liking whiskey now, everything just gets a little harder. You can't no longer just do it. Come on, go back in there.
20 years ago was a lot different, huh?
Oh, even 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you can still find older bottlings, but that store I'm talking about in Western Kansas 5 years ago, I was one of the few people shopping in there. Now she tells me she gets people out of Colorado that drive down there to go through her stuff. I mean, so what you're saying is back in the 1990s, you could have really gotten some great deals. Oh, if I would have kept some of the stuff my father bought in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, every year he bought the Beam's Choice. He always got the bottles,
Yeah,
the classic bottles. I
each year
mean,
was
you've seen all kinds of
each
stuff.
year.
The Page Hirsch, the original Hirsches, those were damn good whiskey. Damn good whiskey. But you just don't see that stuff anymore.
Beam's Choice used to come in a different bottle every year, huh? A different box.
Yes, it was. And they had a Christmas time one, and the guys at work would get Daddy a bottle every Christmas. And every Christmas he'd come home with it, and he'd always have a nice bottle of Beam's Choice. Now, my dad really kind of quit drinking somewhere about 77, 78, but he still, well, I say that. Okay, he did, but he didn't. He quit drinking for a long time, and those Beam's Choice bottles just kind of set up on the shelf. And somewhere in the mid 80s, about a year before I went to the Army, or 2 years before I went to the Army, him and Mama had a knockdown drag out. Well, she knocked him down and drug him out. But because my dad never, she was the aggressive one. Not that my dad wasn't. He just was never. You were raised not to lay a hand on a woman. You know, that's just the way I was raised. That's the way he was raised. But Mom would come at him swinging in a heartbeat sometimes, and she was just full of fire. So he quit drinking for a long time, and then somewhere around 83, they had a real big one, and they both disappeared for a couple of days. So they left me and my sister. He gave me and my sister $120. He said, "Here, that's gas to get you to and from school. No parties, no bullshit." And that's what he told me. He said, "I get back and find out differently, and you're going to have an issue." And pretty much, you lived in that world. So anyway, we did everything that we were supposed to do. And they showed back up. But after that, Dad started drinking Black Velvet again. I noticed I started finding bottles in the garage under the sawdust, under the radio alarm saw, or under the table saw, and stuff like that. And I noticed them Beam's Choice bottles started getting opened again. And a few other ones, like H. Hirsch, and a few other ones like that. So I would just kind of go along behind him. He got helped, whether he probably knew it in all honesty, but he didn't say nothing. It's where all my stuff started.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's a very interesting story, I have to say.
Yeah, well,
good.
They both passed on.
Yeah. Now, John and Neely, before we of your show, what entire bottle of rum are you going to drink tonight?
Oh, I didn't. I exaggerated it. I drank a lot of it though. The that I posted a here. I'll show you. I was just going for dramatic effect on the hangouts when I did drink enough to have. Yeah, but this was the bottle I bought. It's and it's out of I'd never heard of this before. I don't know what the distribution's like, but the Black Dog Life Off the Leash, produced and bottled by the Black Dog Tavern Company in Boston, Massachusetts. And I thought this was really interesting, not only because, you know, the price, $26, right? For a rum that is aged 7 years in bourbon cask. I thought that sounded really interesting, and it is a really, really good rum, which is why over half of it's already gone. But so yeah, interesting stuff. I don't know if you guys ever see this. It's definitely worth a try, but I have a feeling this is not. What's that?
I wonder if that's possibly a Boston beer company project to get into, to use an alias name to get into a liquor, maybe.
Maybe the Black Dog Tavern Company, Boston, Massachusetts. I'll have to look up. Look into this. But that could be the case. Either way, really good rum with a nice little bourbon finish. So good stuff.
Yeah.
So
All right,
as you
John
can see,
and
I did
Billy.
not drink the whole bottle. All right. Well,
I just
yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up. We're over an hour now. Thank you to Ron for hosting the show for, at least the last month and a half, 2 months. I can't even keep track of it anymore. And next week will probably be on Ron's channel again. I think we've got baseball next Sunday. But thank you to Robert. Thank you to Ron. Hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your family, your friends, whatever it is that you do today. And we'll see you all back here next week, 10:30 Eastern, for another episode of Stout Sunday. And until then, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
cheers.